Greetings. Today we're going to look at beginner discs. I was asked early on in the series to go through some of the beginner discs that I would suggest in making a bag. I will say that starting off, you should keep it as simple as possible. If you're just throwing a couple putters to start off and maybe a mid-range, and then working your way up to those fairway drivers and then those higher speeds. Being able to master those speeds like 2 through 3 are very important to gaining control and being able to move on to those next levels. So let's see, this is my opinion, and also these are going to be all Trilogy discs because I am a member of Team Trilogy, which is Latitude 64, Dynamic Discs and Westside Discs. Let's see what we have to offer. Part of these selections were made because of availability in the United States. Okay, so our first putter by Westside Discs is going to be the SWAN 2. The SWAN 2 is a nice straight putter. Dynamic Disc Deputy has a turn of -1.5. If you've seen my previous videos, I've thrown the Deputy. Very easy to straighten and very easy to turn over. Again, we're looking at discs that would be good for beginners. That was with a lot of hyzer at like 40% power and got a whole bunch of distance out of it. A step up from the Deputy is going to be the Latitude 64 Pure. The Latitude 64 Pure is also a -1 turn disc. The Deputy is going to be a little bit easier to stand up to straight and get over than the Pure. But once you get your arm speed right, the Pure is definitely an easy disc to straighten as well. Another disc similar to the Pure, you can use about the same arm speed but actually has more glide, is the Keystone. The rims are just slightly different, so you just have to look at what your preference is. All right, moving on to mid-ranges. And if you've watched my videos, you know I love my fuses. So the fuse is an extremely loose disc, I want to say. It's understable, it's easy to straighten. You can throw really good anhyzer shots with it. If you slow down the arm speed and put hyzer on it, you can make it do some really sick hyzer shots that stretch out. But right out of the box, those are brand new fuses and they fly straight. So another disc by Westside, the TURSAS, is an alternative to the fuse, and the Dynamic Discs Bounty would be another option in that mid-range department. Now, if you got the arm speed and you're turning those discs over, the step-up program is going to be to go with an EMAC Truth. This is a stable mid-range and definitely a good addition to the bag when you are ready. All right, 7-speed fairway drivers, the Underworld, extremely understable. A lot of people get that for their first disc. One of my favorites that I bag, the Dynamic Discs MAVERICK, a 7-speed discs with 4 glide, -1.5 turn, and a fade of 2. This is a step up from my fuse in the fairway driver department, and easy to straighten, easy to throw anhyzers with. Can't say enough about the MAVERICK. Up next is the River. The River has 7 glide. It's a 7-speed with 7 glide, so it's got more glide than the MAVERICK. and it's a little bit more stable. It's only a -1 instead of a -1.5, and it's a really fun disc to throw, and you can kind of see the difference between the flights right there as that one faded out. When you're straightening these discs or turning them over too easily, the step up in the 7-speed department is going to be the Latitude 64 Explorer, a stable fairway driver. Couple 8 speeds I wanted to mention. The Easy to Throw series by Latitude 64, the Diamond. These are all very light discs and easy to straighten. I believe the Diamond's a -2. The Westside Disc STAG, not in abundant supply, but definitely another nice 8-speed to throw. And now we're moving on to 9 speeds, and we have the Hatchet. Now the Hatchet is a -2 turn, so it is an understable fairway driver. Now it's 9 speed, so you have to get it up to speed, but very easy to straighten. I've often heard that this disc is just easy distance. You can throw it on a hyzer, it'll stand up and roll. Similar to the Hatchet in the easy to throw department from Latitude 64 is the Jade. It's a -2 turn as well. A disc by Dynamic Disc, the Vandal. A lot of people find that this is their first, it's a fairway driver, but they can get it further than any other disc. And another disc that's just slightly more stable than the other two is going to be the Escape, which is a 9-speed, 5-glide, -1, and a fade of 2. I actually do bag the Escape. It's easy to straighten, and for me and my arm speed, it is easy distance. Now, if you're going to move up into a 10-speed, Latitude 64 does have an easy-to-throw driver for you. Some people say this should be your first distance driver, and that's the SAPPHIRE, usually in under 160 grams. So now we're going to let them fly. We're going to throw all of these discs, and I'm going to increase the arm speed a little bit, and I'm going to try to make each of these discs fly exactly like the numbers. So here you have the Deputy off a hyzer release, and at that arm speed, you can see that turn, it got all the way over. The Pure, a little bit more stable than the Deputy. And then we have our 2 Fuses, which should be right down the middle. Although this is going a little bit to the right. And I think I put a little bit more on this one, so it moves a little bit to the right as well. So all of these discs are good beginner discs, especially those putters and mid-ranges. When you step up to fairway drivers, the Maverick is an excellent choice. It seems to be abundant. The Latitude 64 River is a very fun fairway driver to throw as well. And then moving on to a 9-speed, once you are ready for it, this was the furthest throw out of all of those on this round. It went past everything by about 30 feet. And then the Escape, you can see, is the most stable out of the bunch that I've chosen here. That's all for this segment on beginner discs. Hope you can make some good choices. There are lots of great discs out there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.